Good morning. This is Big Heart Radio 92.1 FM Asaba, the station that beats for you. We're just going to head straight to the papers. We have Vanguard, Punch, The Guardian, and The Nation newspapers this morning. So let's start with The Guardian. Right here on The Guardian, we have donor fatigue. Economy take toll on blood donations in health facilities. Donor fatigue, economy take toll on blood donations in health facilities. That's on page 6. Donor fatigue, it means that the donors are tired, and then the economy, that's already too hard on Nigerians, and then expecting them to go for donations this season. There's this idea that Nigerians have that you have to be able to feed properly before you can go donate blood, which is actually right. You have to be someone who already maintains a very healthy diet. But if the economy is already too hard and you're unable to even provide 1 square meal a day, I don't think the best idea right now would be for you to go try making some donations. I'm not a health expert, so I don't know how correct that ideology is, but the economy, one way or the other, has affected a whole lot of decisions, a whole lot of things that Nigerians usually would do normally. You can see that in businesses, even in the health sector. So many things have suffered as a result of this, our economy right now. All right, so let's take Nigeria-US hold fresh security talks amid concerns on fiscal transparency. Nigeria-US hold fresh security talks amid concerns on fiscal transparency. And then we have picketing. Airpeace says unions will pay third-party compensation. That's on the news, page 4. And then we have 2027 ADC reveals opposition coalition's plan to challenge Tinubu. That's on the news, page 3. 2027 ADC reveals opposition coalition's plan to challenge Tinubu. All right, and we have right groups, CSOs demand withdrawal of foreign aid bill. Rights groups, CSOs demand withdrawal of foreign aid bill, and that's on page 4. We have Kebbi to support families of 10 slain police officers as small terrorists surrender. Kebbi to support families of 10 slain police officers as small terrorists surrender. We have Oshu polls. Fear of violence mounts as parties groups trade allegations. Oshu polls. Fear of violence mounts as parties groups trade allegations, and that's on the news, page 6 of The Guardian. And we have Tinubu approves procurement of 35 linear accelerators for cancer treatment. Tinubu approves procurement of 35 linear accelerators for cancer treatment. All right, moving on to the Punch, we have State Police. Presidency closes public submissions today. State Police. Presidency closes public submissions today. And you can find that on page 7 of the Punch. It also says Tinubu gets final draft September 3 after presidential working group's appraisal. And then we have National Assembly to receive State Police bill after president's review. And State Police law will guard against governor's abuse, says presidency. All right. And still on the Punch, we have 2027 Atiku Obi mall options ahead of single candidate summit. 2027 Atiku Obi mall options ahead of single candidates summit, and that's on page 7 of the Punch. We have Osun poll. INEC adds SDP to ballot. Osun poll. INEC adds SDP to ballot. Distributes sensitive materials. All right, and underneath that we have Akpabio, Uzodinma, governors arrive for APC mega rally. Police grill Father Hussein, and that's on page 8. We have economists back US, fault Nigeria's fiscal transparency. Economists back US, fault Nigeria's fiscal transparency. And according to this report, the US had conducted a fiscal transparency. Yes, they wrote a fiscal transparency report about Nigeria, and according to them, well, the findings, they were not correlating. the country is borrowing money in the name of Nigeria and Nigerians, but at the end of the day, contracts cannot be traced. There is a budget. Nobody knows what the amount stated on the budget, if it actually goes to the ministries. Nobody is aware. We should understand that Nigeria's money is money for Nigerians, and it's meant for our development. So I feel that every Nigerian has a right to know. Yes, we get a budget, and then at the end of the day, we hear, okay, take for example, 1 naira goes to health, 1 naira goes to military and security, 1 naira goes to education. But at the end of that fiscal year, do we get any report stating that exactly 1 naira went to this ministry, or went to this agency, or went to insecurity fighting, or whatever it is? We don't get that. So what happens with our money? Who gets it? How did we get that money? How are we going to fund the budget? These are questions that Nigerians have been asking. But most times, we don't get responses. We don't get answers. We need these answers. We need to be sure. We've been asking for a report on how the fuel subsidy money, where it's been going. We just hear that, well, it was added to the federal allocations, and it's been given to state. It's been invested here, it's been invested there. Is there anywhere that Nigerians can say, oh, let's look this up and see if it actually went there? Can we call these ministries or find out from any of them, send them a mail to ask if they actually received this money? But when you get to these ministries to ask questions, nobody is answering you. They will tell you their guy is not around, they cannot give you his phone number, they don't know when he's coming back. So many reports like this. So there is this whole secrecy thing that goes on in Nigeria public offices that I don't even understand. This one is a bit personal for me because I've gotten to experience this countless times. You go to ask a simple question, I just want to know about this. Nobody is telling you anything. Nobody is answering anything. They don't know. Even if they know, they would not tell you. They will tell you to wait till they meet their boss. You meet their boss tells you, oh, they don't have privy to this information. They cannot give it to you. You have to meet the governor. Come on. We are Nigerians. We need to have access to all of these details. We need this information. We have to be sure that, yes, you're working, but tell us exactly how we can reach out. You talk about road constructions. You hear this contractor has been awarded this contract. Can you reach out to the contractor and ask, did you actually receive this money? How much have you been paid so far? And how much have you spent so far? Do you think this would be enough? How long would it take you to complete this project if you're given this amount of money? You don't get answers to those questions at all. Yet we believe that one day Nigeria will be magically fixed and Nigeria will be magically great again. Well, that's my take on that one. Let's move on to the next paper. Yes, that's all we'll be taking from the Punch this morning. Let's move to The Nation. On The Nation, we have security blanket on Osun to enable violence-free election. Security blanket on Osun to enable violence-free election. I saw this on several other papers and I did not really pay attention to this, but I think it's something we should talk about. Nigerians have to understand that the elections are for us. You pick the right person, you get good governance. You pick the wrong person, you definitely get the wrong governance. Yes. And you understand that these people at the top who try to incite these violence. I'm not saying that the candidates are the ones inciting violence, but you might just love your candidate so much that when somebody doesn't agree with you, it becomes a fight. You go to the polling units, you're causing chaos. You go to the rack centers, you're causing chaos. There's heavy security presence everywhere because they don't even trust that Nigerians can control their emotions. Election results are announced, you're not comfortable with it. Instead of taking it to the appropriate channel, you begin to fight. Then I've experienced this also. The last election, you begin to fight, you're causing problems, you're causing trouble. We even have to call on the military, which they're not supposed to be present during such a democratic process. But because of the kind of people we have in Nigeria, because we know how we can be, there's security presence everywhere. You see police and military vans moving around because they know that violence could just erupt. And sometimes they say, yeah, it's being sponsored. So if somebody tells you to jump into a lagoon, are you going to jump into a lagoon? So if somebody gives you 10,000 naira to go cause chaos at a polling unit or during elections, you just accept the money and you go there to cause chaos. And then when trouble finally erupts, do they really stick their necks out for you? These are questions we should be asking ourselves. Even if they stick out their necks for you, the physical harm you're getting, will they be bearing the pain with you? Or what if the person you're going to cause trouble with, they are stronger, and then you get bed reading because somebody has told you to go and cause chaos, or we no go agree. This we no go agree mentality is not taking us anywhere. Everything no be fight. Election is not the time for us to fight each other. Okay, it's not supposed to be your candidate and your people versus my candidate and my people. It's for Nigerians. If it turns out well, we all get to enjoy the country. We love the development. If it doesn't turn out well, you have the appropriate channels to follow. Go ahead and follow the appropriate channels. There's no time to fight. It's a time for us to come together and say, this is the candidate we want. We love what they are presenting to us. Let's give them a try. Not a time to say my candidate has to win. How dare you talk about my candidate like that? And then fighting erupts. We already have that in Osun State. Over 30% have lost their lives allegedly, even before the election day. So we shouldn't be getting reports like this. We should be already past this stage in our democracy. But unfortunately, we still get such reports. Well, that's it from that headline. We also have stock market fixes deadline for transaction details. And then also on the Nation newspaper, we have EFCC recovers 115 billion naira, $67 million oil levies for NDDC. All right, and that's on page 4 of the Nation. We also have Assembly plans to produce 4,000 tractor units annually. We lost 2 billion naira to unions disruption of flights, says EPIS, and Nigeria exceeds OPEC quota in 3 consecutive months. That's also on the Nation newspaper. And quickly, let's move to the Vanguard. On the Vanguard, we have Nigeria fails fiscal transparency test for second year. That's according to a US report. Nigeria fails fiscal transparency test for second year. All right, and underneath that report, we have budget figures don't add up. Audit office not independent. That's coming from the State Department. And it says national budget vague on government revenue and expenditure. Then you have notes, contract details not made public. Fiscal transparency, accountability remain our priority. That's coming from President. And we have budget implementation unclear. That's coming from the budget IT. All right, that's it on that one. We have food production. Federal government firm unveiled policies, target tractor assembly plant. And that's on page 9. We have oil outputs declines to 1.67 million barrels per day. That's on page 20 of the Vanguard. And also on the Vanguard, we have inciting comments. Police grill Fadanhusi for 2 hours. And Senator raises concern over alleged killing of 12 persons in Ilesha. And charged him to court, Adeleke's camp tells police. And also on Vanguard, we have US-Nigeria hold fresh security talks in Washington. And rate of surrenders by terrorists rise 213% in 1 week. What happens after the surrender? Well, this one is coming from the military, and you can find that on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. And then we have Naty reports EFCC recovers over 115 billion naira debt for NDDC, clears 19 oil companies. And we have new army battalion takes off in Kwara. Finally, foreign aid bill sparks fury as rights groups fear crackdown on civil society. All of this you can find on the Vanguard newspaper. Well, and that's all we can take this Thursday morning. And you can join me again tomorrow, same time, same station.